Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. In today's episode I'm going to show you how to do a full service interval on an Alfa Romeo Giulietta from the year 2010 and up. As you can see on this car I already removed the front bumper because I want to replace the air filter also, and if you don't have an elevator or something to lift the car up and remove it from underneath, I recommend you guys to remove the front bumper and remove the entire case with the filter and replace it in this way. I also have a video in the description below where you can watch how to remove the front bumper on this car or on any Alfa Romeo Giulietta. The most difficult part when you're trying to do a full service on this car is to replace and remove the oil filter. The oil filter location, it's very hard to reach. You will have to remove the passenger wheel along with some plastics to reach the oil filter on this car, and only after that you'll be able to remove it and replace it, but I will show you later in the video what you'll have to do. Okay, so for the air filter you'll have to remove this hose, and you'll also have one bolt right here, and into the bottom you'll only have one rubber clip, something like that. You'll have to lift it up and it will come out very easy. Just follow what I'm doing. I will replace it with MAN. All the things and the parts which I'm going to install on this car are made by MAN filters, and also the oil, I think it's leaky moly. I'm not sure. I will show you later in the video what oil I'm going to use, leaky moly or Motul, something like that. I think it's Motul. Okay everybody, so I'm done with replacing the air filter on this car. I also installed back the front bumper on this car, and now let's move forward, and we will have to go under the car and reach the drain plug. But if you have a protection shield like I have in this car, you'll have to remove first the protection shield. You'll have to remove the bolts or the screws or whatever things you have there which is holding the protection shield mounted onto the car. You'll have to remove it completely, and only after that you will reach the drain plug and you will reach the other parts which you'll have to work on this car. Okay everybody, so I removed the shield from under the engine. This is how it's looking on this car. It's a very dirty shield, and from what I can see the engine is also leaking some oil. I will have to figure out this later. And right here is located our drain bolt. You'll have to use a 30mm socket to remove the drain bolt. And if you move a little closer, if you look up right here, this is our oil filter. This is how it's looking. This is our oil cap, this black plastic part. I hope you all can see it. So to remove this oil filter, depending on where you are located, if your steering wheel is onto the left side, you'll have to remove the passenger side wheel, the wheel from the right side, you'll have to remove it, and only after that you'll have enough space to work onto the oil filter. I recommend to remove this plastic part also from the serpentine belt. You'll have to remove this part because in this way it will create you more room to work, and because the spice is so small, it's so tight inside there, you'll have to use an adjustable wrench. In my case I'm going to use an adjustable wrench because I don't have a special tool to fit inside there, and with an adjustable adjustable wrench, I'm going to do this job just fine. Probably you won't be able to tighten it to spec, but you will be able to remove it and install it correctly if you take the time and if you are patient to do it. After you're done with removing all the covers, I recommend you to remove first the drain bolt and drain all the oil, and only after that you'll have to remove the oil filter. This is how it's looking. This is where it's located, as I showed you earlier. So to remove the drain bolt, you'll have to use a 30mm socket and remove all the oil, and only after that you can go ahead and remove the oil filter. Normally, it's a very simple and basic thing to do. It's normal as on all other cars from out there, but on this car it's a little difficult because the locations for the parts, it's very hard to reach. But the things and the steps which you will have to do are all the same. Okay everybody, as you can see, the oil filter cap came out very easy. I didn't have to put a lot of force to remove it. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the new o-ring onto the cap. I'm going to clean the cap very well. I recommend you guys to clean the housing on which the air filter will be installed onto the car. I recommend to clean it very good, and only after that you'll have to tighten it back together. If you have the tool and the time, I recommend you to tighten it to 25 Newton meters. But if you don't have the tool and the special spec, I recommend to tighten it until you feel a little resistance, and that's it. You don't want to over tighten it because in some cases the housing is made from plastic and it can break very easily. Okay everybody, I'm done with installing the oil filter onto the car. I installed the drain plug from the oil pan, I installed the cover from the separating belt, I also installed the wheel from the passenger side, and now it's time for me to put the oil back into the engine. I recommend you guys to check on the manufacturer how much oil you need in your engine. On this engine, I think I'm going to use 4.6 or 4.8 liters of oil. I'm not sure. I will check it onto the dipstick. I recommend to always check the dipstick and see the level of the oil. First, I'm going to put 4.3 liters of oil, something like that. I will start the car. I will let the oil pass to the oil filter and all the other parts, and after that I'm going to let it cool a little bit, and I will check it again, and I will put a little more if I need, or if I don't, I'm not going to put. This is the oil which I'm going to use. It's made by Motul, and from here it's a very simple and fast forward job. After that, I'm going to replace the pollen filter and also the fuel filter. After you're done with putting the oil back into the engine, you'll have to start the car and let it warm for about 1 minute. And I recommend you guys to check the oil filter and also the drain plug bolt, and also the fuel filter if you replaced it before. So if all of these things are good, if there is no leaks, this is meaning that you did a good job and you can go ahead and move forward for replacing other parts on the car. Now I'm going to start the car and I'm going to stop the car after 1 minute, and now it's time for me to replace the pollen filter. The pollen filter location on this car, it's right here onto the passenger side. You'll have to remove this plastic, and after that you'll have to remove this carpeting from the top. You'll have to remove, I think, 2 clips and some bolts, and after that you will go ahead and replace the pollen filter itself. From here, just follow what I'm doing. It's a very simple job and it can be done by anyone if it has the time and the patience to do it. Okay everybody, by the time I was replacing the pollen filter, the oil had enough time to cool down, to go at the bottom of the oil pan, and now it's time for me to check the oil again, and it's looking like I need to put more oil into the engine. It's right at the top of the minimum level. Now I'm going to put a little more and I'm going to check it again. Now it's time for me to clean the dipstick and I'm going to put it back into the engine. As you can see, the dipstick is very clean and it's dried. Now let's check the oil again, and as you can see, the oil is at the maximum level. This is meaning that we are good to go. This is meaning that it's perfectly. We don't have to add more oil into the engine. The level is perfectly. Now let's go ahead and replace the fuel filter on this car. To replace the fuel filter on this car, we'll have to use a Torx 20 to remove the screws which are holding the top part mounted onto the car. After that, we'll have to remove the connectors from the pipes, from the cables. To remove these fuel pipes, you'll have to push these connectors. You'll have to put the clips forward, and after that, you'll have to press the little white part from the middle and you'll have to pull it out. It will come very easy. Don't force the things. If it's not coming out, it's meaning that you don't do it correctly. So just take that in mind. And the one thing I want to tell you guys, you'll have to figure out, you will have to remember the side on which the fuel filter was installed, because the fuel filter has a small pipe at the top and it has to be aligned with the hoses and the location of the hoses. So just to look at how you disassemble it, and you'll have to assemble it in the same way and in the same position as it was before. Make sure to tighten the bolts to around 6 or 8 Newton meters. You don't want to over tighten them. I think the 6 Newton meters is perfectly. And after that, you'll have to put back the connector, the pipes. You'll have to push the clips back where it belongs. And after that, before starting the car, I recommend to prime the fuel pump. I recommend to put the ignition a few times. You'll have to put the ignition, wait a few seconds, you'll have to take it and put it back and so on. I recommend to do it 5 or 10 times until the fuel pump will push the fuel back into the engine, back into the injectors and into the pipes. And after that, you can go ahead and start the car. Everything is perfectly. This is all the things which you are going to do and which you will need to do in order to full service your car. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video and found it informative, please leave a like and a comment down below. See you next time.